Hi, everyone, and welcome to season 2. It's my anniversary. Okay, singing is not my strong point, but I'm so excited that I'm in season 2 of Living in the Good Space. It has been 1 year since I launched my very first episode, and I'm just excited. I recorded 9 episodes in the first season, and I'm looking forward to continuing what was started last year and speaking with some great guests on some great topics to help people be their best self, and to be able to live in good space. There's just so much going on in this world, and there's a lot of opportunity to be not as positive maybe as we would like to. And so I'm hoping, and I'm being intentional about living in the good space because I want to be that light. I want to bring that positive energy and also information that helps us to make self-care a priority and that will position us to be able to thrive wherever we are in life. And so my guest today was my very first guest in season 1. And we had such a good time. I asked her to come back and help me kick off season 2. Plus, I want to catch up and see what's been going on with her since we last talked. So let me tell you a little bit about who she is. Coach Tiffany B is the CEO and founder of a faith-based coaching and women's empowerment company. She's a certified life coach, and she's the creator of It's Lit board game. Her organization, and her as a life coach empower women to shift from living on autopilot to living intentionally. She's a Hampton University alum. She's a certified neurophysiologist, co-owner of Vision Vessels, and she's a partner in a young women's mentoring organization called Solid Soul Sisters. And she's the curator of The Intentional Couple, where she brings couples together of like mind to as a part of activities and events that she curates. And last but not least, she's the mom of a toddler, and she is a wife. And so without further ado, help me welcome back Coach Tiffany B.
Yes. Hi. Thank you. I just, when you hear about yourself, it's like, wow, that's me. I do that.
That's you.
Like,
That
that's
is
crazy.
all you. And I remember our first session. It was just so much fun, high energy. And I got to share kind of at the beginning phases of this journey of yours, building your business and your coaching practice and getting your board game out there. And, you were really kind of at the height of going forward with a lot of
Yes,
these things. So I
yes.
wanted to bring you back, one, to celebrate the kickoff of season 2 because you were my first guest, and to thank you again publicly for doing that. You didn't know anything about living in the good space or, what my vision was. And so I just truly appreciate you being willing to help me launch. And I want to check in. I want to hear what's going on. What have you been doing? I've had the pleasure of participating in some of the great programming that you're putting together, but I really want you to share with my viewers what you've been working on over the past year.
Okay. Well, number one, congratulations on season 2. And I truly mean that because there are so many things that we all could start and just stop and put it down and be like, I'm too busy with life. I'm too busy with work. I'm too busy just with everything that is happening in the world. And you have decided to keep pushing, keep showing up, keep finding tips and tricks and things to intentionally be in a good space. So I just really want to acknowledge that because it's not light, it is major. And we have worked together, throughout the past year, and I see you thriving and pushing. So congratulations on season 2. It is always an honor. It was an honor the first time around. It is an honor again. Thank you for always thinking of me and keeping me in your mind space. Be like, hey, all right, will you come back in? Because you don't have to have me back. So I just really thank you again for the opportunity always that you just always think of me, and I do not take that for granted.
Yes.
But yes, hello everybody. I am Coach Tiffany B. I am the owner, CEO, and founder of Living Intentionally with Tiffany B, which is transforming in real time into a coaching company and a women's empowerment company. So more of an organization, how I envision it. And a lot has happened in 365 days. I kind of feel like where to begin, what to say first.
Let me help you with that, because I want you to talk about the group coaching that
Okay.
you're doing around living intentionally, because I think it's really powerful. I had the opportunity to be in the first cohort, and
Yes.
that community has grown so much over this year. So talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so yes, I have what is turned into an intimate group coaching program. It's called the Intentional Woman Power Experience. It is currently 6 weeks. I am looking already into increasing it to 8 weeks. When you started, it was only 4 weeks.
And we were so mad.
Oh, man, like this is it. It's over. I wasn't even considering it to be a coaching program. Even now, it's not boxed in to be a complete coaching program. It's also women's empowerment that's tied to it. But yes, it is thriving. So I started it off in March 2020, where, like you said, you were a part of my very first cohort. I call you all the foundation layers of the program. And it was just to do something for Women's Month. I wanted to be intentional about showing up for Women's Month. I wanted to be intentional about putting myself out there, about doing things even while fearful, stepping out in faith and still. And what came about is now an actual program. So it is currently, like I said, a 6-week program where we go over what is living intentionally, who is the intentional woman, what does intentionally doing me, what does that look like, and then how do you get to a point of intentionally vibrating higher. So I was thinking about the who, the what, the when, the where, the why of living intentionally, to be able to explain it a little bit more, to go in depth. Like, while people see me on Instagram and making videos and I'm building up my Facebook and whatnot, it's still hard to put into words just through social media. It's like, no, come over here so that we can get down a little bit to the nitty gritty, so that you can think a little bit differently, open your mind a little bit differently. And you saw firsthand, because you were somebody who took after week 2 and really just, you were on go. You're like,
Listen, I will forever be known as the maniac who sent the email at like 2 something a.m. That's going to be my claim to fame forever. But let me just pause for a second on that, because, and you know this as a coach, even coaches can benefit from having coaches.
yes.
So just because I'm a certified coach doesn't mean I can't benefit from engaging with another coach, because coaches have many different specialties. I'm not the answer to every coaching need. I have my lane and you have your lane. And so I'm always looking to connect with other coaches that have a specialty that will help me keep moving forward towards my goals. So that's how I decided to join the Intentional Women Experience, because I knew I needed some more intentionality. I'm a recovering procrastinator. We fall down, but we get up.
Yeah, come on, recovering.
And so exactly. So when I got up, I was like, okay, let me just sit in this level of self-awareness for a minute and then do what I have to do to be more intentional and to get out of this pit of procrastination. So
yes. And I think too, another thing to mention is just being in an atmosphere where it is a group. I know some people are like, I don't really do groups and it's not necessarily for me, but I believe that there is power in, one, in community, and 2, bringing together like-minded, in this case, women, bringing together like-minded women of all ages. I know many times they're like, you need to be specific and you need to have a certain age range, a specific person. But this is why I'm looking at living intentionally more as coaching and women's empowerment, because it's not super specific at this moment. It is open to the only criteria that I have at this moment is to be somebody who is already somewhat motivated, somebody who is not necessarily looking for an answer, but looking to do the work, looking for a little bit of guidance, looking for a little bit of push to get. You got to already have some fire, because that was you. And like, you definitely not a maniac. You are the intentional woman who is up at 2 a.m. literally letting the fire ignite you from the group, and I think that people need to come in with a certain mindset. We talk about that as coaches, where clients, they need to be ready to do the work no matter what stage. And if you're ready to show up differently and not be on autopilot anymore, then the intentional woman power experience is something that you should check out.
Yeah, and I just saw a quote. I can't remember it verbatim, but it was something to the effect of, you can't motivate, or you can't make people level up. You know what I mean? Like, that
Right.
motivation has to come from inside.
Right.
Because you can be inspired for a moment, and then when that moment is over, you kind of go back to the autopilot, as you say.
Yep.
But once you have that fire in you, and you've made up in your mind, you know what? I'm tired of playing at this level. I want to do something different, whatever it is. Then that's when you will kick in. That's when you will move forward. But coaches are not miracle workers, right?
Right.
They can't give you everything that you need. You have to have a level of self-awareness where you make up in your mind, I want to do something different, or there's something that I'm working on that I could use a little bit of coaching,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they say, God could give you the ingredients, because you're like, oh God, I want a cake. But when he gives you the ingredients, you don't want to make it. But I feel like it's very similar with coaching. It's like, we provide different tools, resources, we help you, but it's like, essentially you have to make your own cake. But if everything to a certain extent is given to you, if I give you the mixer and the bowl and the eggs, and we're working on it together, but you are the person making the cake, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get what you actually put into it. So
so true. So true. I love the community. And I love the diversity of the community, that people are from different backgrounds, ages, levels of experience, etc. Because I think that breeds for great learning, because when everybody's in the same space, and everybody's kind of bringing the same thought process, it can be challenging to learn and to get new insights. But when you've got that mix of a group, then you get to learn. Tell me about the community, because you just recently launched a new platform for your intentional women community, and I think that's an awesome platform as well.
Yes. So it's just interesting that things that come about when you when you actually live intentionally and start to move. So I didn't expect to have the group coaching program, but like you did March 2021, excuse me. So you're coming up on a year. People keep saying, are you going to do a level 2? Are you going to do something else? So it started to be like, how can I bring together like-minded women who are looking to go higher, don't necessarily have all the resources, don't know where to start. And this is how the Intentional Woman community came about. I initially thought that it was going to be for everyone. While I had the women who participated in a cohort in mind, I still was thinking, okay, this could be an open community for people who may not have the ability to participate in a coaching program yet. I'm gonna open up the community to them. But while that was my initial thought, I started to go back a little bit more and just talk to God and say, I want the community that I'm cultivating currently with the power experience to actually be cultivated, to actually be watered, to this to be a form of continuing education, to say the least. And now in my secondary is I may potentially open it up to other women, but it will probably only be twice a year. Like, it's going to be limited, because what the Intentional Woman Power experience is special. It's very special to me. It's special to, now people come out with a different mindset, a little bit transformed, thinking differently. And I'm like, how can we continue to cultivate that? and also cultivate myself. So the Power Experience now has a community, and within a community, I plan to bring everything that is the pillars of living intentionally with Tiffany B, which is mental, spiritual, emotional, financial, physical, and I'm going to be adding elements of nutritional well-being. So I want those to be the pillars. And when you come into the community, thank you for being a member, a tribe member.
I love it. I love it. And I love the connection. I have the app on my phone. So, I get excited when I see like a little ping. It's like, ooh, what did she
Like,
put in there? Well, who's talking?
Yep. It's like it's on Facebook. So that is, we are able to have different tribes or groups rather able to post on the activity feed. You've posted things that are dealing with intentionally living in a good space. And there are it's building momentum. It's definitely in the beginning stages, but already I can see, like I literally just launched January the 15th. So a year from now, I'm going to be saying, it's thriving, and there's many members, but the plan is to every week offer something, a workshop, webinar, Q&A. So even outside of the activity feed, I want to provide women the opportunity to actually learn. So as a coach, I'm pulling in my connections, people that I'm meeting. You just did a workshop with me and within the community for the value of a coach. And I even went back to watch it and I'm like, this is good. the value of a coach. Yes, every woman needs a life coach. We started discussing how every sports, you're talking about voice coaching, you're talking about cooking coaching, nutritional coaches. There are so many coaches out there, and it really is beneficial to help people get to that next level. I said it's like the fast lane. Instead of going local and having to stop at every exit to figure out what to do in this stage of life or this part of the series, now you get to go in the fast lane, the HOV. And your coach is helping you with the synergy really get to where you need to go. And I think that just even having those conversations in the community, having a financial workshop, it is really something that I am hoping will help women continue on a living intentionally journey. And I just think it's powerful. It's going to be extremely powerful.
It is powerful. And I was listening to a talk show, and my memory just abandons me at times. But I remember them talking about like positivity, all this positivity. You got to be positive. You got to think positive, almost as a negative, really, right? And the woman said, I remember her saying, but why not? Why not be positive? Why not let positive energy fuel you and keep your light on, so to speak? Because we all have a light, right? But light diminishes with darkness. Darkness doesn't diminish until you turn the light on.
Yep.
So why not be that light? Why not be positive in a world that feels very negative, very heavy, with a dark cloud that just kind of has been looming over us, a pandemic, just this kind of new way of living that caught people completely off guard at a left field. Why not be positive? Because positive energy, well, let me put it this way, negative energy affects our health. It affects our well-being. So having a bad attitude, being nasty, being cantankerous, just being that person that always sees the glass half empty versus half full, that starts to weigh you down. And it chokes your hope.
And it stops you in your tracks.
Yeah, it stops you.
Not moving.
Yeah, because if I don't feel like I have any possibilities, or there's not a better version of this story that I've adopted or that I've chosen to tell, then what is the point? Might as well just stay where you are and have nothing to look forward to. But I'm crazy enough to have something to look forward to, and I'm crazy enough to believe that there is just so much more for me to do and experience before I leave this earth. Like I'm not trying to leave anything on the table. I'm trying to take it all with me.
Touch it all. I also too, just a quick tidbit, because I was just listening to something last night about positivity and how they're trying to say like happiness is actually a science. But he said, two things can be true. Like things can not necessarily be like, we can be going through a pandemic and you can still find things that bring you actual happiness, joy,
Yeah,
love. Like, it's, I think sometimes people are like, you have to be completely sad or in darkness and you shouldn't show any form of happiness because of, but it's just like, yes, we are going through a pandemic, but I can find joy in the things that I truly love and coaching, a power experience, my son, my husband, my family,
exactly,
you can do
exactly.
that. So
And listen, you're a faith-based company, so you'll appreciate this. I don't know the exact scripture, but there's a scripture that talks about what the enemy meant for bad, God will turn it for good.
mhm,
And so when I think about where we are just environmentally and with the pandemic, so much good came out of that
right.
too.
Yep. Yep.
Businesses were born,
Mhm,
books were written,
mhm,
people got, they made their fitness a priority, you
yep.
know,
Their
um,
mental health a
their
priority.
mental health a
Took breaks.
priority.
Yes.
Families had captive time
Yep.
together. And I
Yep.
know it took a lot to get used to when you're working from home and you know this and you have a toddler who's there with you. And, so I know I'm not saying that that's not challenging in and of itself, but there were positives if you choose to look for them. There
Yep.
were positives, there were goods that came out of this crazy past 2 years.
Yep. And that's the thing is, like, you just brought up a good point. You have to be, because this is living intention, you have to be intentional about seeking out what the positive was. What did I gain from this? What didn't I have before that I have now? It could even be just a new perspective on life. It could be, I'm going to rest more. I'm going to take
Yeah.
time for myself. I'm not, what we saw before the pandemic is everybody rush. It don't matter where you were at in the world, rush.
Mhm.
Like, all I know is work and work hard
Mhm.
and grind. It's like, how about we stop and slow down for a little bit? Like, what
Mhm.
does life look like when you just relax and take a step back? And so there were many, in my opinion, positive things that came about. But you have to seek it out. You have to look for it. You have to look at the glass half full, rather.
I remember seeing a video clip, and I think it was somewhere in Europe. Maybe it was in London. I don't remember, but where in the early phases of the pandemic, animals were out that you normally wouldn't see out, like walking down a street or in the downtown area. And there was like this caption, now that the crazy people are gone. The animals are like, it's safe to come out and roam around because those crazy people are gone. They're not here. So we can have fun. And they were
Right.
trolloping down streets in little, downtown areas. And people were like, they never saw this before.
Mhm. Water
And
was supposed to
so,
be bluer, and it's crazy. It's
yeah, it is. But what I love about the work that you're doing is it really does what it did for me. Let me talk about me. It gave me an opportunity to pause and say, okay, I wake up in the middle of the night with ideas. I keep a pad by I have so many ideas. I probably could be so rich right now if I hadn't allowed myself um to be stuck in my idea zone, right? Because at
Mhm.
some point you got to come out of the idea zone
Right.
and you've got to put together a strategy and you've got to implement. But one of the things that I will always remember about being a part of the intentional women experience was getting more intentional and saying, okay, what is the next step? Where do you go from here? This
Right.
is a great idea. How are you going to make it a reality?
Right.
Because if God gave you that vision, he gave it to you for a reason and for a purpose. Somebody needs it. If
Yep.
I don't care if it's only one person,
Yep.
somebody needs it. And
Mhm.
so, if you've really, really kind of committed your life to being purposeful and living a life that is going to help serve others and leave the world a better place, then you gotta get over your procrastination and your fear, and you gotta just go for it. So that's what the cohort did for me.
Mhm.
It just gave me a fire and a boost of energy to say, what can't you do? Your favorite term. What can't you
What can
do?
you do?
It's you, it's your limiting beliefs. It's your
Yep.
fear that's holding you back. You're not in
Mhm.
competition with anybody.
No,
So yeah,
I literally, I was just, it might have been the challenge from, I don't know. I've been doing a lot of mindset work, but I just heard somebody say like your limiting beliefs are your own, it's like your own limiting prison. It is a prison. It keeps you stuck. It keeps your ideas stuck in a box. It keeps your thoughts and how you can move forward and how you can be get the promotion. It's like, oh, I don't think I'm good enough. Like that literally keeps people boxed in. So I'm glad that you said this, because my thoughts with the program are to just open people's eyes to see, but what if you do it? Or, what if you decided to stop procrastinating? What does the other side of that look like? And if you decided to go after it purposefully, why wouldn't you be able to obtain it? Why wouldn't it come to fruition? And it's like, it will. And then it's like, oh, and think even bigger than that. And then even bigger than that. So, it's so many things that come about from it. And for me, like you said, I'm faith-based. I just feel like it's an assignment from God. Mm-hmm. And at this point, it's like, you got to just keep going, because I'm now connected to several others,
Yeah. So when we talked last year, and I asked you about living in the good space, and I remember this, you talked about living in the good space as a wife, what that looks like, and as a mom. But today I want to hear, what does living in the good space look like for you, Tiffany B, the woman, the individual?
That's interesting, because I don't even remember talking about as a wife and as a mom. So that is definitely interesting. Living in a good space for me currently, because I feel like it will just constantly change, is just doing what I'm doing, impacting women the way that I'm supposed to be impacting women. The good space for me, I have found and realized is not having to, the proper term, I guess, is, I don't know if it's even proper, but code switch. It is my ability to genuinely show up as me in my space, being able to help women the way that God wants them to be helped, to help them so that they can push forward. Because like you said, even if it's one person, that one person may go out and impact 50 people. And then those 50 people will go out and impact 100 people. Like, I genuinely love being in the intentional woman just atmosphere. So that's a really good space for me. It's a really
yeah. And I consider you an energy shifter. I literally felt my energy shift when I went through that experience, because I was feeling a little toxic, a little negative. And I felt like my self-talk was not in a healthy place. And so I definitely feel like the work that you do also helps to shift energy, because I came out feeling a lot more inspired and positive and upbeat and energetic than when I went in. And so thank you for helping me to push some of those blocks out, clear up some space, open up some space.
I appreciate that, because that's not like, that's the intention, but it just happens to come about from the experience. So I really appreciate you saying that, because it's like, and once the energy is shifted and everybody's within this like powerful, feeling good. And it's crazy because, again, you did the first cohort. It changed.
I feel like I need to do it again. I feel like I need to go through it again, because I feel cheated, actually, because there's a lot of stuff that has evolved.
Yeah.
So I feel like you need to do a do-over for the first group. We need a peek inside to see, what's happening.
I've thought about doing it for the community, essentially. So it's actually on my mind, maybe a version of it or something of the sort. But because it's once you're
so much has happened since that first one. Yeah.
And it's I could just run off so many ways and how it's enhanced. So just to hear you say how good it was from the first one is like, well, now we're on the fourth one, and I'm already thinking in my mind about the fifth one, So
listen, I'm just going to put this out there. I'm going to bring you back when the book is done and ready to be published, Living Intentionally. So I want exclusive rights when you get ready to publish your
Thank
book.
you. Come on, put it in the atmosphere.
Yes,
Yes.
I want an
God's
exclusive
ears.
interview for that. And one more question before I let you go. The end of this year, when you look back, what do you want to have accomplished?
Ooh, dang, that's a good question. By the end of this year, what would I like to have accomplished? Things that I see within my vision is 100 women a part of the Intentional Woman Power experience.
Mm.
Don't necessarily know how it's going to come about because my schedule is getting busier where I'm like, should I pull back from doing the power? Not to say pull back, but just making sure that it all aligns. But I know I see 100 women. I see 100 women a part of the community. I see the intentional couple showing up in some form or fashion. I don't necessarily know how at the moment, even if it's not this year. I see that by the end of the year, I'll be planning something big for next year. I see the board game. We didn't even really talk much about the board
What is
game.
happening with the board game? Yes, it's lit, the board game.
Yes, it's lit board game, which is a product of the life coaching services. But I also see that doing well. I kind of am building living intentionally first. And I feel like it's lit, and I'm okay with not even talking about it much because it's going to come in the back end of the way that it's supposed to come through. But I sold over 100 games, which has been beautiful within 2021. So I do look forward to me standing up and bringing that into, I don't know, radio stations and looking for when it's going to be in Target. And
I see a coaching game. I see It's Lit coaches game too. I think it's an excellent tool for coaches to use with clients. So let me just put that out there.
Sprinkle that in the air. Yes. I have a family version, a girlfriend's version, and just an all version. Currently, the all is actually sold out, which is a beautiful thing to say. Kind of like stressful, like, oh my goodness, but also beautiful. My next edition, I believe it will be a couples edition. Like that's where I want to go.
Yes, the intentional couple. Yes. So tell us. So that's all good stuff. And you asked us that. So I'm just bringing back to you what you gave to us. Because once you put it out there in the atmosphere, right? And once you get intentional about it and clear about what it is that you see and what you want, then you can make it happen.
It starts to occur. Yes.
So tell us how we can follow you, how we can learn, where we can order the board game, or just follow you to learn more about things that you're going to be doing this year.
Okay. I'm on Instagram at Living Intentionally Tiff B. Living Intentionally Tiff B.
And that's 2 F's, TIFFB.
Yep. ANYB. You can subscribe to my mailing list, and you can do that by going to www.livingintentionallywithtiffanyb.com. Again, that's www.livingintentionallywithtiffanyb.com. You can subscribe to my mailing list. You can contact me through a contact form that is on the website. And you can also, there's a tab for It's Lit where you can go to the It's Lit website to see all about the game. It'll tell you the reason why and how you play, and everything is there for people to go ahead and check it out.
Thank you so much for carving out time to help me kick off season 2. I'm really excited about this season, everybody. So I hope you'll follow me. You can learn more about new episodes that are released through my Instagram. You can follow me at Living in the Good Space on Instagram. And my website is www.thisisannettejohnson.com. So you can see season 1 there. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel and get alerts for new episodes that are going to be released in this new season. Thank you so much, Tiffany B. I wish you all the best with everything that you want to accomplish this year. And thank you again for being a guest and coming back and checking in with me.
Yes, no problem. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
You too.